Hi there, this is Kim, and in this video I'm going to share with you what living words are, especially in the context of how I use them in quantum change kinesiology sessions. So living words are, and how I use them is as solutions. Sometimes they can test out as a problem, but I will discuss that in a different video. But for now, I'm going to discuss with you the solution as living words. So in a quantum change kinesiology session, what I work on with you is to, first of all, the first step is to assist and support you with developing awareness and understanding of the issue that you're facing, let's say anxiety. So what I do is with muscle testing, I assist and support you to basically gather all the awareness and understanding that you need in order to realize and recognize your personal ability to transcend and change an issue that you're facing inside of yourself. Now, this will be very specific. Like what I test out with muscle testing is always very specific in terms of what you need to realize and understand and see about your issue in that particular moment in time when we're having the session. So the development of that awareness and understanding is the first step, just for you to start recognizing and seeing your own ability and potential to change things that you're facing, maybe change issues you've been facing your entire life, like anxiety. Then the second step in a session is to, in a way, solidify that change, solidify your process of changing that issue like anxiety. And that is what we do through living words. For example, there are other solutions, but living words is definitely a solution that I work with very often because it's just a very easy kind of tool that you can apply in real-time moments where you can actually see change for yourself, where you can actually practice that ability to change things, to change your issues that you face. And so I'm going to share with you and show you how that works exactly through a real-time example, which is me right now. I've been working on a point of anxiety and fearfulness that I've been facing in my life in relation to a particular situation that comes up quite often in my life. So I've assisted and supported myself with accumulating all the awareness and understanding necessary for me to actually see for myself why and how this anxiety is actually not who I am, or is not really is not real, so to speak, in those moments. So I now have that awareness of, you know, I actually have the ability to change this awareness because it's not really me. So from this point of understanding and awareness, I can now go and look at solidifying that change, making the change real, which is through living words. So I'm going to now test out some words for myself. You know, it can be one word, two words, multiple words. We'll see what tests out. And I'll get back to you in a moment to share with you what tested out. And I'm back with 3 words that tested out for me. These words being nuanced, supportive, and courageous. So whenever these words test out for myself or a client that I'm working with, I always make sure that I interpret the words in a way that's as specific as possible, meaning that I need to now live these words in those moments when the anxiety comes up, when the fearfulness comes up, when I get that small kind of panic attack. So that means that I need to know exactly how I'm going to live those words. It's like creating guidelines, creating a structure that I can follow in those moments where it's like a plan that I'm mapping out for myself, so that in those moments, you know, in a next moment, because I'm sure that it'll come up again, when I go into that anxiety, fearfulness, then I can remind myself of this plan that I mapped out, of these words that I've clearly defined and described and interpreted for myself. I can remind myself of that, and I can then implement the plan, so to speak. So for example, the word nuanced that tested out how I need to live that word in these moments of getting that small panic attack is by realizing in that moment and understanding that how I'm seeing the situation through the eyes of the anxiety is in a very, very limited and one-dimensional way, where I tend to create these perceptions of the other person and of myself, of the situation, of what's going to happen, which all kind of accumulates into me getting like a little panic attack because of how I see things in my mind, where I then also believe that how I'm seeing things in my mind is real. So nuanced tested out for me to actually remind myself in those moments that, hey, this is just my mind, okay? This is a very, very limited, one-dimensional, superficial way of looking at the situation, which in itself is based on my own fears, my own kind of my own memories, my own fears, etc. So nuanced is about recognizing and understanding that there's a lot more about the situation, about reality, about what's happening, that is about, it's about a lot more than just how I personally am seeing the situation in this moment. So that's going to definitely assist and support me with recognizing in that moment that my anxiety is very much based on how I personally decide and choose to look at the situation, which in itself is extremely limited, extremely superficial. Then, I also had a look at supportive and courageous in that way, where I know exactly how I'm going to live these words in that moment, and I can see exactly how I can live and use these words in a moment when that anxiety comes up, to actually in that moment assist and support myself to not go into the anxiety. Because in a way, these words are basically about my relationship with myself. It's about, me deciding to not go into anxiety. So these words that test it out is basically what's going to assist and support me to make that decision. So what's going to assist and support me to realize that I need to make that decision. That decision is in my hands. I have the power to make that decision, and I have the ability to not go into anxiety in that moment. So that's very much what QCK also works with and is based on, which is your personal self-empowerment, your personal ability to take charge of how you experience yourself inside of yourself, is to basically build on your relationship with yourself. And so if you're interested in knowing more about this process of living words, which, in itself is it's very fun. It's a lot of fun to just test out these words, to play with these words, to live these words, and especially to kind of be able to have that structure in place where you actually are able to see your ability to really change something. And the interesting part is that in a next session, once you've actually practiced these words, once you've practiced living these words, in a next session there might be different words testing out because of those steps of change that you've already walked. So that means that in the next session there will be a different layer or a different dimension of the issue testing out with new words for you to look at and implement. So, within that process, you're always kind of changing and evolving and building on yourself and your ability, which is what makes QCK so unique and effective and beautiful. All right, so if you're interested in knowing more, then please feel free to browse our website or just jump right in and schedule a session and see for yourself how QCK can really assist and support you to start getting hands-on with what you face in yourself and your life and start changing issues that you face. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.